style of leadership. But as a leader, when you're in the trenches, especially like a young leader or middle management, we have a lot of those leaders listening to this. You get so frustrated with the overwhelm and then the lack of caring or the lack of accountability, especially in our line of work on the tech side of things. What are the biggest obstacles that leaders face when they're trying to, they have that they're listening to you and they're saying, Rob, this is awesome. I don't want to drain anybody's human spirit.
Yeah.
What are what are the biggest obstacles they face in trying to actually boots on the ground?
Yeah. So a couple thoughts that come to mind. One, in many instances, our leaders that are above us in those instances don't really have a sense of it either, right? They're not
Yes.
understanding what it is. I'm
Mm.
working on this formula right now to start to articulate this. At what point do I have to embrace leadership as a part of my identity as a leader before I start actually living that? The other piece that I think about is, especially with young leaders, and so it's a slippery slope in my opinion. So we want to get as educated as much as we can and learn. But what we have to be really aware of is just because I've listened to Jason's show for 2 years and it's great content, it doesn't mean I'm there or even close. I might have some ideas. What's
Right.
the relationship between those ideas and my actual skills to accomplish these things, right? So it really does speak to the importance and value. Like if you're a serious young professional in a good industry, you got some good financial support, professional development funds, find a good coach, like a high quality coach that's not just teaching you and telling you, but will actually help you develop the skills and that align with your values and your beliefs and your priorities to accomplish this, right? The other thing is what the biggest factors, I think, one of the biggest factors, the lack of the language to understand what it is that I really don't know, right? So
Yes.
it's
That's so
hard
good.
for me to ask my boss questions about what I essentially don't know. And a good reflection of this is that when people say, look, I don't get paid enough to do this, right? Or I'm not recognized enough to do this, that's code for something that has nothing to do with compensation or
Mhm.
recognition, but they just don't have the language to accurately express their frustrations they're experiencing. It's just that's what's available and they go to that. So trying to surround yourself with other people that can actually help you get over that hurdle and and clear it consistently is very important. But if I can add one thing that I would actually recommend to your leaders listening to this, I think the most important leadership attribute that nobody's talking about is consistency.